Hello everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin. Today, we invite you to take a closer look at a story that has captured widespread attention and stirred deep curiosity. Song Ji-hyo breaks her silence, revealing the real reason her 8-year relationship has not only survived, but endured against all odds. What has she chosen to keep private all this time? And why did that choice make all the difference? Stay with us and follow the story right now. It wasn't a scandal that forced her to speak. It wasn't a leaked photo or a desperate denial. It was something far more unsettling: how easily the world assumes it already knows everything. For years, Song Ji-hyo has existed under a spotlight so bright it burns details into public memory, yet somehow, her most personal truth remained just out of reach. People thought they could map her life from clips and headlines, from smiles on variety shows and carefully framed interviews. They thought they had the full picture, until she finally said the words that cut straight through the noise: "I don't show everything." And the internet didn't hear a boundary, heard a challenge. Because when a celebrity admits there are locked doors, the crowd doesn't politely step back. It pushes closer. It imagines what's behind them. It turns privacy into suspense and restraint into mystery. In one breath, Song Ji-hyo didn't just reveal a principle, she detonated a question that had been quietly simmering for years: how does a relationship survive for 8 years in a world that feeds on exposure? Tension had been building long before she spoke. It built every time she appeared calm when others were scrambling for attention. It built every time she sidestepped personal questions with a polite laugh. It built in the tiny pauses, the measured answers, the way she never rushed to fill silence with confession. Some people called it elegance. Others called it cold. But the truth was sharper than either: she was protecting something. And protection, in a world of public consumption, looks suspiciously like secrecy. Then the rumors came, as they always do. Not as direct accusations, but as slippery suggestions. She's hiding someone. She's been with someone for years. There must be a reason she's so private. Each claim was built on the same addictive ingredient: certainty without proof. And because Song Ji-hyo didn't provide the details, people filled the gaps themselves. They invented a storyline where a hidden love was the only explanation for her composure. They treated her silence like a confession that simply hadn't been spoken aloud. But here's what made it truly explosive: the more she refused to display her relationship like content, the more the public began to feel entitled to it. Questions grew sharper. Comments grew meaner. The tone shifted from curiosity to accusation: if it's real, why not show it? As if love only exists when it's posted. As if devotion requires an audience. As if a relationship is valid only when strangers approve of it. And then she broke that illusion with one quiet, devastating idea: the relationship survived because it was never handed over to strangers in the first place. When she finally spoke about why it worked, it wasn't a romantic fairy tale. It was a strategy, almost a warning. She didn't paint her relationship as perfect and claim it was easy. In fact, she described it made it feel more intense, more real, more fragile than anyone expected. 8 years wasn't a cute milestone. It was 8 years of resisting pressure. 8 years of choosing restraint. 8 years of protecting something from the world's hunger to consume it. The reaction was immediate. People leaned in harder. Because the moment she admitted there was a line she wouldn't cross, everyone wanted to know what the line was. She kept off camera, what she refused to share. And the more they demanded answers, the more the story turned into a psychological thriller. Not a thriller about cheating or betrayal, but a thriller about control. Who controls the narrative? The celebrity who lives it? Or the audience that watches? Her words exposed a brutal truth: the public doesn't just watch celebrities. It negotiates ownership over them. Ownership always comes with punishment when the property refuses to perform. Suddenly, her 8-year relationship wasn't being discussed as love. It was being discussed as evidence. As a puzzle. As an unsolved case. People searched for patterns in her schedule, in her interviews, in her expressions, like they were hunting a hidden figure inside a painting. Every time she looked tired, they called it heartbreak. Every time she looked happy, they called it secret dates. The more normal she appeared, the more desperate the theories became. Then came the shock that flipped the entire story on its head: she wasn't hiding because she was ashamed, she was hiding because she understood something most people learn too late. Privacy isn't emptiness. Privacy is armor. Armor is only necessary when the world is trying to cut you open. After she spoke, the narrative could have calmed down. It could have become a respectful lesson about boundaries. Instead, it escalated, because her honesty didn't satisfy curiosity. It sharpened it. Her statement became a spark that ignited a bigger, more uncomfortable conversation. What if the reason her relationship survived is the same reason so many public relationships collapse? Because in the celebrity world, isn't just lived, it's consumed, it's analyzed, it's rated. Song Ji-hyo's approach, keeping most of it unseen, felt almost rebellious. And that rebellion made people nervous. A relationship can't be controlled by the public. It can't be turned into a daily show. It can't be split into teams, I ship it versus he's not good enough. It can't be invaded by expectations that multiply like a virus. When the public can't access something, it becomes restless. It becomes suspicious. Suspicion is cruel. The shock wasn't a shocking secret. Shock was the discipline. She didn't say her relationship survived because of grand gestures. She didn't sell it as romance. She implied it survived because of choices that look boring to the internet but are deadly serious in real life, protecting trust, refusing to perform intimacy, guarding the fragile parts from strangers. She said it, maybe not as a headline, but as a truth that landed like one. A relationship can be destroyed by the audience long before it's destroyed by the couple. Think about that. The moment a relationship becomes public property, becomes a battlefield. The couple doesn't just fight their own arguments, they fight the world's commentary. They fight the pressure to prove love. Fight the expectation to look perfect. They fight the panic of being misinterpreted, misquoted, intertrend. They fight the terrifying reality that one bad angle, one awkward moment, one misunderstanding can explode into a narrative that refuses to die. Song Ji-hyo didn't just keep her love private, she kept it out of that war. And that's why her story feels so intense. It exposes something people don't want to admit. That sometimes the most dramatic act of love is not showing it, not feeding it to the crowd, not letting strangers make it into entertainment. But the tension didn't end there. Because once she drew the boundary, the public began testing it. Questions appeared again. Pointed, more invasive. People wanted proof of happiness. They wanted her partner's identity. They wanted details, timelines, emotional breakdowns, anything that could turn a private relationship into a public series. And every time she didn't give them what they wanted, the same toxic idea surfaced: she must be hiding something bad. This is the sick trick of rumor culture. It treats privacy as guilt. Ji-hyo survival story suggests the opposite. It suggests the relationship lasted precisely because she refused to let outsiders participate in it. Love isn't strengthened by spectators, it's strengthened by safety. And safety is impossible when you are constantly being watched. Her statement, "I don't show everything," isn't a tease. It's a warning label. It means there are places the camera cannot go. There are conversations that will never be turned into content. It means your relationship is not a performance for strangers to applaud or attack. And that's why, in a world addicted to exposure, choice feels almost shocking, like watching someone refuse a drug everyone else swears is harmless. And maybe that's the real reason the relationship survived 8 years. She didn't let the world inside. Not because the world is evil. Because the world is hungry. Hungry for access, hungry for drama. Hungry for a story that can be chewed up and shared. And once you feed that hunger, it grows. Demands more. It takes. It doesn't give back. The story ends not with a name revealed. Not with a romantic montage. With a dramatic confession, but with a boundary held firm. A love protected like a candle in a storm. Held not by secrecy for secrecy's sake, but by something far more mature. The understanding that what is precious does not survive constant exposure. And in that sense, Song Ji-hyo didn't just break her silence. She exposed the truth behind longevity. Not a fairy tale. Not a scandal. A method. A choice. Because sometimes, the strongest love story is the one you refuse to turn into a show. In the end, Song Ji-hyo's words cut deeper than any rumor ever could. Her silence was never emptiness, it was intention. A world that demands constant access, constant proof, constant exposure. She chose resistance. She chose to protect what mattered most, even when that protection was misunderstood, questioned, and attacked. The survival of her 8-year relationship is not a miracle. A secret scandal waiting to be exposed. It is the result of discipline, boundaries, and the courage to say no to an audience that believes love must be displayed to be real. And perhaps that is the most shocking revelation of all. Sometimes, love lasts not because it is seen, because it is guarded. Thank you for staying with us until the very end of this story. Your time, attention, and willingness to look beyond the headlines mean everything. If this deep dive resonated with you, we invite you to continue exploring more untold stories, hidden truths, and behind-the-scenes realities with us on Behind the Bulletin. Until next time, stay curious in the narrative. And thank you for being here.